I walked into my grandfather's kitchen and froze. My gun, loaded, was sitting on the table, and my cousin was smirking like he just caught me committing a crime. That was the day he tried to destroy me. But what he didn't know is that I was about to destroy his entire future. If you've ever been stabbed in the back by family, if you've ever wanted karma to finally come for someone who deserved it, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready because this is one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll ever hear. I grew up in a family that was complicated. My grandparents were wealthy, but kindness ran deeper than their bank accounts. They had a soft spot for family, even when that family didn't deserve it. My aunt passed away when I was a baby, leaving my two cousins in their early 20s to fend for themselves. My grandparents' will had a special clause. If a parent died young, the grandkids would get half their inheritance early and the other half when my grandparents passed. My younger cousin used hers wisely, paid off college, bought some land, and built a peaceful life. My older cousin, let's just say he was a walking cautionary tale. Drugs, reckless spending, terrible decisions, and within 6 years, he had blown through everything. He became a cop, but even with a badge, he was barely staying afloat, spending more on drugs than his paycheck could cover. And then, he met her, his girlfriend, later his wife. If you've ever met someone and immediately thought, vulture, that was her. She saw my cousin as her lottery ticket into my grandparents' pockets, and within 7 years, she locked him down with 3 kids. Baby-trapped and broke, they became a financial black hole that only my grandparents were willing to keep feeding. By the time I was 17, my grandmother passed, leaving my grandfather heartbroken and alone. I moved in to keep him company. He was my hero, and I was his favorite grandson. That drove my cousin and his wife insane. Every time they visited and I wasn't home, their kids, 3 little gremlins, would storm into my room and trash it. They broke things, tore up papers. Once my cousin even planted a noisemaker in my room to drive me crazy, the kind that chirps randomly at night. But the breaking point? The gun incident. I was 18 and my grandfather entrusted me with his firearms because he couldn't handle them anymore. I kept one handgun locked in a case in my nightstand, key on a high shelf, magazine in the box but never chambered. I took that responsibility dead serious. One day, I came home with takeout from my grandfather and froze. My gun, on the kitchen table, loaded, bullet in the chamber. My grandfather pale, my cousin smirking. He said his 6-year-old kid found it and was playing with it. I knew instantly he staged the whole thing. A 6-year-old couldn't reach the key, unlock the box, load the gun, and chamber it. But my cousin, a cop, he knew exactly how to frame me. He scolded me about gun safety and even threatened to have me arrested if I didn't leave. And because we were family, he said he was letting me off this time. My grandfather, shaken, asked me to move back with my parents until things cooled down. I left, humiliated and heartbroken. A month later, my grandfather died of a heart attack. I can't describe that pain. I'd just started rebuilding our bond after my cousin's lies, and now I'd never know if he believed me. After the funeral, my cousin and his wife immediately switched targets, sucking up to my dad thinking he was their next payday. But my grandparents were clever. When the will was read, a single line changed everything. If anyone attempts to claim any part of the estate not assigned to them, they forfeit their inheritance entirely, which will be divided among the remaining family members. I could almost feel the spark of divine justice ignite in my chest. I knew my cousin. He was greedy, reckless, and arrogant enough to hang himself with the right bait. So I called him. I told him very casually that all of Grandma's jewelry was going to be donated to a charity auction. I let him imagine the sparkling collection he'd stared at for years slipping through his fingers. The very next day, he rushed to my grandparents' house and started looting like a raccoon in a diamond store. When my dad and the lawyer arrived, they found the kitchen counter piled with 3 shoeboxes of jewelry. And right on cue, my cousin came strolling out of the bedroom carrying a 4th. His face when he saw my dad and the lawyer? Priceless. He knew he'd just detonated his future with his own hands. My dad didn't even have to yell. The lawyer just wrote it down. And by the time the dust settled, my cousin lost everything. His share of the inheritance? Gone. His wife? Filed for divorce within weeks. His kids? Moved with her. We haven't heard from him in 6 years. There was no gloating, no screaming match, just silence, and the crushing weight of his own greed falling on his head. I'd like to say it felt like a victory, and in a way, it did. Watching karma finally catch up to him was cleansing. But if I could trade it all to have my grandparents back, I would. Still, every time I think of that smirk he gave me over the gun, I remember he thought he was clever, and now he's nothing. Sometimes the universe doesn't need your help to deliver karma. But if someone hands you the rope they're gonna hang themselves with, well, maybe just give it a gentle tug. Family or not, betrayal has a price. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed. And of course, subscribe for more stories that prove karma always comes around.